Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? It is Ricky Ventures and Marlon Madden, and we are back with you for another episode of the Success Journey Show. What is going on, Marlon? How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing good. I don't know if people are seeing this. I don't know if it's on my end or your end, what's the lag, but there's some lag. I don't know. Might be just true. We're getting back in the swing of things. Our computers are warming up.
I know, right? That's probably exactly what it is. Computers warming back up. But no, I think we're all good, man. I think I'm all good on my end, at least.
Yeah, I'm good on my end.
All right, man. Now you're good on your end. Now that I said I'm good on my end.
Yeah.
Oh man, what's been going on, dude? We've been doing a whole bunch of stuff over these past few, oh my goodness, weeks. It feels like we've been doing more running around than actually recording over these last few months.
Yeah.
What's been going on your end, man?
A lot of I'm in investment mode, so it's all investment. I went down to South Carolina, looked at some property. We're doing a lot of things. So a lot of people would if they were actually sitting down with us and they were or advisor or coach or whatever, like I get some of the time they're like, man, you guys are doing actually too much. And I'm like, nah, we're actually not. We're doing exactly what we need to be doing because a lot of stuff that we're doing just spider off and organically grow into something else. So if it's organically grown into something else, I don't have a problem with it. And like we were talking about, that's our niche. We talk to people and everybody talks about being motivated. Everybody talks about success. Everybody talks about everything. But when we talk about what's our niche in society, Ricky and Marlon is actually being dads, running our family, being able to maintain our jobs, high level.
Being a phenomenal husband,
Being a phenomenal husband. I was gonna put that in there.
Yeah.
And running our family, and also being able to handle everything else that we do that's on our entrepreneur side. So we have a formula for it, and yet we're still taking our kids to the baseball game, the basketball games, night out with the wife, all these different things.
Executing on the job.
So definitely,
yeah.
Definitely, this is our niche.
Yeah, man. I think it's just one of those things where, this is what we love to do. Like people have hobbies. Like this is a hobby.
Yeah.
It's like people ask me, what do I do on the weekend? If I didn't do something and related to like some type of business stuff or podcast stuff or now real estate stuff, or it's like, man, I didn't do nothing this weekend.
Correct.
On top of going around with the kids and doing the stuff with them, which is fun as well. But when I'm on my phone and I never sit down and watch like a full basketball game or something. I haven't been able to, or it's on playing while I'm doing something else, right? It's just what I love. It's what I love to do. I love the conversation. Correct. I love talking about it. I love being around it. So when people consider, oh man, when you get done with work, you need rest. I'm like, yeah, that is my rest for me. That's
right.
So sometimes I think it's a detriment to, or I haven't been in the gym as much, but it's all good. I'm getting that part figured out.
Well, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna put out a challenge or something to ourselves or to the people just to talk about fitness, because your health is your wealth. And if you don't have that health and wealth together, and I call it the synergy, mind, body, spirit, then you're actually losing in the game. So that synergy is definitely that sweet spot in the middle where you have that mind, body, spirit, and you have them all intertwined and working like clockwork. So we're going to get all there too. Me too, even though I go to the gym and I play, body's been breaking down a little bit from just 20 years in the military. November this year is going to be 20 years in the military.
Body's being old on top of that,
Yeah. Well, I think it's more the wear and tear. I can feel it. Like it's like a car. You put on a new control arm, then it exposes something else that was that was kind of shaky with it. But because both of them are old together, they were working together. But now one is leaving, the other part is saying, "Hey, I'm old, man. I need." So they fixed my knee.
I need some loving too. I need some loving too.
They fixed my knee, but then my plantar fasciitis is like, fix me too, you know. So it's definitely old. I'm gonna attribute it to being old, but also just that I'm getting different stuff done, and my body's just showing its age.
Yeah. It's just life, man. And man, but I really do have a desire, really, just like you said, man, really taking care of the body, because that is the main thing. And I have to make it a priority for myself to make that a priority in life, right? And it's haven't been doing the best with it over the years, but I'm slowly over at least the last 3 years, I haven't fitness, like, whatever. I don't have time. I get in the gym, or I don't know. Sometimes I get to those points where I've done that already, man. I've done that plan. I've done this. I've lifting crazy weights before. I was doing that. It was like, so I was like, I felt no challenge, or it feels like, oh man, I'm starting all the way back from the beginning again.
Correct.
And you're like, oh man, I gotta go through day 1 and day 2 and day 7, and just all those things. But man, I'm definitely getting my mind back around it, and just kind of having that desire again. So, but yeah, travelers, man, we can talk all day about this, but we do have a special guest that we do want to bring on to you. Before we do, so I always want to remind you just to jump on our website, right? Jump on our website, check out all of our former podcast guests that we've had on. Read a little bit about them. If you have any guests that you would like us to interview, reach out to us to our email. It's right on our website, or leave a comment in one of the reviews for the show on the podcast platform that you listen on. So listen, guys, we're here. Check us out at successjourneyshow.com. All right, we're going to move on to the next segment here. We know that you guys are going to enjoy it. All right, travelers, we are back. Oh man, we are honored and we're privileged to be able to be here with our special guest today. Like we say every single week, man, we bring these guests on from all over, totally different backgrounds. Everyone has their unique story, and we want you guys to just, before we even start, just take something out to write a note with, a nugget with, because they're going to come as we talk to our guest here today, and it's none other than Majesty Gayle. You guys heard that right, Majesty Gayle. Majesty, what's going on, bro? How you doing today?
Hey man, I'm doing great. Blessed to be here and grateful for you guys having me on, the show.
Oh man,
oh definitely, man. It's an honor to have the Majesty. I feel like you need to reach out the scepter or something so we can touch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, man, why don't you start off, man, and share with us, man, just your background. Who are you? Who is Majesty, man?
Yes, sir. Well, to start off, I'm a Black man. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I have 5 children. I'm from Florida. My wife is from Tennessee, so we're Southern for the most part. And I've been a serial entrepreneur since I was a child. I was that kid that was cutting grass, walking dogs. I was even babysitting. Anything that I can kind of do, to make my own money. Yeah. So I've always been kind of independent and entrepreneurial minded or whatnot. So I have to admit, as a youngster, I didn't always use that in the right way. So ran into some issues at a younger age. Saw some different sides of things that when I was able to kind of straighten out things in my life as an adult, kind of committed to making good on a lot of the things that I saw just through my upbringing and, kind of a lot of things that we all have saw specifically in our community where we could kind of make things better. And that's kind of what brought me to real estate altogether. And just kind of clarify for everybody, I'm an affordable housing developer located in Atlanta, but with a twist where we more so focus on the communities that we're going in to build these houses and everything, and we bring also supportive services. So we're not just coming in developing, making a profit and leaving. We're coming in and actually impacting the community. We see where the needs are. And, you know, they're tremendous in a lot of these metropolitan areas. So we launched a nonprofit specifically to bring supportive services to these communities that we're developing in. And you know, real estate had a big influence on my life in order, as far as getting my life in order. You know, that was the first step for generational wealth for myself, and giving myself like a good financial path. So when I kind of saw how real estate had the power to transform, you know, a life, I was you know, interested in, I guess, scaling that and seeing how that could be replicated in other people's lives. And I saw that. So that's kind of our mission, is just to change lives through real estate, specifically real estate ownership. And yeah, so that's kind of what brought us here. And you know, our nonprofit is doing the work in the community to bring that message to everybody.
I love it. Tell everybody, I like, we're talking right before we jumped on. I was telling Majesty, man, it seems like I'm always in my bed late at night on TikTok. I'm trying to change I'll tell everybody, I'm trying to change my algorithms. So I click on specific stories so that it'll say, hey, that's what you need to watch. And real estate is one of the big things that's been, because Ricky and we'll jump into it, we do real estate too. And I saw that, and I just was captivated by the story because of exactly what you said. Not only are you doing real estate, and you talk how you got turned down. I guess you'll probably bring that story up, how you got turned down, and as a result of a disappointment, you didn't take no for an answer, and you created something else. So definitely, I want to highlight that. Now, talk about that. I know you talk about, when you say you're from Florida, what part of Florida?
North Florida, Tallahassee to be exact.
Okay.
I've also lived in Tampa as well. So some South Florida. And you know, I moved to Atlanta in like 07, 08. So I got to see the old school, the end of the old school Atlanta era,
Correct,
turn into what it is today. So it's been an interesting, you know, journey here. I have a lot of love for Atlanta, though. I learned a lot from Atlanta. Kind of where I got my chops and honestly, you know, came of age, I guess you could say. So I'm very grateful for Atlanta and, you know, everything that it offers, and having all of us together in this, you know, one location. You don't see that very often. So I like to see our community do great things in Atlanta.
definitely, man. Yeah, man. I used to live down in right outside of Tampa, Hudson, right up the Sun Coast. So, yes, and I used to frequent down in Tampa a lot, close to McDill and all that. So I know the area well. My wife actually went to school to Tallahassee TCC.
Yep.
So she played ball for TCC, and then she went all over to North Carolina for ECU. But yeah, so I know I don't know Tallahassee that well, but I've been down there a couple times. So I know the area, man. Nice. Well, depending on where you are, nice area.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about how. Now, you had that entrepreneurial spirit. Was your father entrepreneur? Was your mother entrepreneur? Who was it that influenced you, that just gave you that entrepreneurial spirit when you were young?
Man, it must have been something that I saw outside of my family. I mean, don't get me wrong, they were great parents. You know, I had everything that I needed, and I'm very grateful for them. But they're both in education. My mom is actually administrator in education. She's an assistant superintendent of the county now. So she's really big on education and always big on us about education. And I'm Jamaican as well. So I think that's part of it too. You know, my parents and my family, man, they push us, man. They push us different, like different push.
I'm Jamaican.
Oh yeah, I heard the accent, man. I was gonna ask. But yeah, so I'm firstborn American, so they put a lot of pressure on us in regards to doing great things. So I think it came from that, and then just having that natural bug, in the sense of just kind of always being in some type of position of closing. I was just always selling something or making some type of deal. I really like to put deals together, win-win situations together. So I think it's just kind of a little bit natural in a sense, and just found a way to cultivate it for the good of more than just myself.
Yeah, man.
Rick, you can't get rid of us.
You didn't hear the accent? You didn't hear my accent?
Hey, you know how many people end up coming on the show not planned?
Yeah.
Didn't know their background, and Ricky's like, how is she in Jamaica? We went all the way to like Alaska to get a daggone yes, and she Jamaican.
We everywhere, man.
Everywhere, doing, man. Dude, I'm just listening to you, and man, it's just phenomenal, man. Just to see how things kind of lined up and to where you are right now. And what I want to do is kind of dissect it a little bit more for our travelers. Sorry, a text message just popped up. The wind is blowing crazy, and I'm getting a whole bunch of messages that my garage door is open, lights are flickering, all this stuff. So
it's going crazy up here. Yeah, the wind is crazy. 30 miles an hour winds. Yeah, man.
Crazy. But break it down to our travelers. We call them travelers. That first deal, that first process. It's like, man, can I do this? Like, is this something like the path I should go on? What kind of convinced you to say this is it? Like, this is what I really want to be doing. And I knew it kind of grew from there. You didn't start off thinking you're going to do it this where you are right now. But tell us that evolution a little bit more in detail.
Got you. Well, and just to give you a little bit more background on my entrepreneurial path. So I've actually started, 2 businesses before, getting into this. The first business was a used car dealership. And that was an interesting experience. And fortunately, I was able to exit, successfully after some time. But that's when I learned that you need to be passionate about what you do. And I didn't love cars or whatnot, but it was a cool business, and I learned a lot. I'm just not into used cars. And then also, so I got into fintech after that, and it was a very
really.
Yeah, actually Bitcoin. So it's interesting to hear all the Bitcoin stuff now. But I was actually involved pretty early, wrote a book on it, did some other stuff. I was one of the earlier proponents, probably I'd say about 2015. So not super early, but earlier than
earlier than most.
Yeah. And the regulations at that time and the difficulties and the challenges were different than they are now because it's more accepted. And that was something that where I kind of learned about regulations and everything like that. And I got out of that one as well, exited that one at a profit. And then I had a friend who was a Black brother who was a millionaire, and he was a successful real estate investor in New York specifically. And he wanted to expand to Atlanta. So he recruited me to do that. And I told him that he had to hire my wife as well. It was a package deal.
2 for 1.
Yeah, because she does all the marketing and all that stuff. So I said, hey, we got to have her too. But yeah, so he agreed, and we basically opened up the office here. And I didn't know as much about real estate. I had done some real estate deals, but I wasn't, like full-time real estate or anything like that. So this is my first time kind of jumping all in. And I'm doing so based off of just my respect for him. He was kind of like a uncle type figure to me. And him to have that vote of confidence in me meant a lot. But when I went to work for him and learned like the whole process of doing larger deals, I was kind of hooked because, I just saw how impactful these projects can be. So many people, make their living off of one real estate deal. It's amazing to me how many lives can be changed from, the closing attorney to the agent to the construction worker to the buyer. It's like the impact is really what had me hooked, man. and so ever since then, I've just been, soaking up game and learning how, to bring that to our people to leverage to change our situations, because I believe a lot of the issues that we have revolve around real estate. And I'm a real estate like nut, like I'm a real estate maxi, I guess you would call. Like, I think that real estate is the best possible asset that you can invest in. Particularly because, you know, with real estate comes authority and power and different things like that. And that's something that I know our community wants more of. So I think it's the solution there. But that's kind of, you know, when I saw that first deal happen, that I did with my partner, and, you know, the lives that it changed, from the families that, you know, made proceeds off the sale and everything like that. I just thought it was amazing to have that type of impact in the community specifically, and then also to make some money myself. So it seemed like I found my calling, you know?
No, dude, I'm glad you said that. A couple things you said in there, like everyone eats. Can you hear me?
Hold on. Are you from Portland, or is your mother from Portland or up that way? We have a friend named Gayle.
Oh man, no, not from Portland. Most of my family's in New York.
Okay, yeah, we had a friend, our friend named Gayle. He recently moved to Texas, but his last name is Gayle. Yeah.
You never know. Sometimes I meet
this I know, right?
all the time.
Right. But yeah, man, you said a couple of things in there, and what really stood out to me, like you said, what kind of drew your heart to the real estate when you saw the full picture of the game, and how many people were eating from one deal. Like, you know, I know it. I'm in that space. I've been in that whole construction, real estate development space as a career, but I never just took the time to just put it in those couple words that you said. Everyone eats, you know, from this. So you have someone that's coming with capital that wants to develop something. By that desire to do that, I'm putting food on the table for a contractor. I'm putting food on the table for a lawyer, for an attorney, a lawyer, an accountant, a real estate agent, a realtor, inspector. You know, like all these people are now being involved and able to put food on their table because I have capital to kind of move this thing along, or I have a vision, you know, to kind of move this thing along. Even if you don't have the capital, the bank had the capital. You know, like there's always so many different moving parts in there. And you said, I want to bring this back to my community. And what's so important about that is I've seen so many times I work for large organizations, and they're developing policies for, quote unquote, the urban community, and to get them more involved in projects, to win awards or projects. And it's always them trying to do something for the state, do something for these people. Let's do something for them, versus us having the capital and driving that revenue generation to them, because we're doing something for ourselves. And so when you said bring it back to the community, it's like, man, that right there, dude, is a beautiful thing. And as you're looking at that, it really curates that purpose. Like you said, man, that purpose, that love of why I'm doing this every day. Not just about, yeah, I'm financially benefiting from it. Yeah, of course. But at the same time, as I'm financially benefiting, other people are also benefiting from it as well, man. That's, dude, I just had to just go back over that for any travelers that missed that whole aspect of it. But that right there was deep to me, man. I loved it. So as you're looking at Atlanta, and you know, I don't know how long you were in Atlanta before the gentleman came to you to
he
start.
Said 2008.
2008, so yeah. Or 2007, 2008. Yeah. I don't know how long you were there before he came came to you, and he kind of switched that role. But how did you like learn the land? I mean, like now you had to get your thinking cap on, because you said you weren't all the way in real estate. You had your toes in it. You probably did some deals or whatever. But now you're like, okay, yeah, I got to make this thing happen for this guy I have high respect for. What was that learning curve for you, man, to really get up to speed?
Man, he was a tough mentor. I would be honest. He's old school. He throws you into the pool, into the water with the sharks, and tells you to figure it out. And don't get me wrong, you know, the resources are there. I had great mentors there, but honestly, they were like, hey, you can figure it out. And a lot of it was boots to the ground. I mean, we were in the community, literally, like door to door. We're talking to people. We're literally in the community. And that's how we learned about the needs of the community. That's almost, so that's how we saw, we had to observe a lot of them, because sometimes the community doesn't even know what it needs. And it's that it doesn't know, it's not aware, it doesn't see the contrast. But I'm sure you travel to a nicer area and you see, the development, and then you go back to that. It's easier to see what's missing, or whatnot. But that's honestly how we learned was boots to the ground, and we were thrown into the fire. And one of the things that we learned early on is we saw the amount of I guess what everybody likes to call gentrification that was happening. We saw that like face to face. And unfortunately, we play a bigger role in that than we like to admit, in the sense of okay, I'll give you an example. We saw a lot of renters that had been renting for 30 years, 20, 25 years, raising their family at a house. And then the seller decides to sell. And now they feel that they have some type of ownership in the property. And they've even made renovations to the property. And my heart always goes out to them. And we typically work it out in their favor to where they can stay in the home. But to put themselves in that position, it's a lack of knowledge, it's a lack of understanding, or whatnot. But so we just try to change that through education, and we just push home ownership, like owning some property, or whatnot. But we just learned through working with these people directly, kind of seeing what's going on. We just ran into so many sticky situations when it comes to somebody being pushed out. And that kind of always brought us to solutions in order to keep them in that same community, but still be able to beautify it.
Yeah, man. Ricky and I, so we have a similar, we're not doing it on a scale of developing a whole, and we'll get into exactly how you develop or what size you develop. But Ricky and I we're talking, we bought some property up in Baltimore. If you know, Baltimore is some places are very dilapidated, right? Mm-hmm. So picture, we're originally from Jamaica, but stateside New York. So what I like to liken it to is like Harlem back in the day, right? I looked and it said in 1980, 1990, you could buy a brownstone in Harlem for $5,000 to $4,000 to $40,000, right? Yeah. And then you had guys, you had the Bumpy Johnsons, you had the Alpos, and you had all these guys that were pushing what they were pushing through the community. Mm-hmm. And the community got dilapidated. And then the people, like you said, somebody was renting there or they owned it. And they said, I don't want to live here no more. It's not good. And they moved out. And now they came and they gentrified that area. That area went from a 40,000, we'll go at top cap what it was in that time, $40,000. You can't, now it's 3.5 to 10 million for a brownstone.
Jeez.
Soho, and they changed the name of the areas to Soho.
And and it changed.
Not even Harlem, yeah.
Harlem. Uptown, or they try to put it into Manhattan a little, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you have all that. Now, what scale are you guys? So one thing I like to tell, you said about gentrification. Gentrification does not mean we have to leave.
Yes.
I don't know why we always think because they're gentrifying the area, now we have to leave and let them renovate or do whatever they're doing. And then we come back and try to rent. Yeah. The same house that you were living in for 30 years, they fix it up. Now you're paying $500. They gentrified it. Now it's $1,500. Mm-hmm. You can't live there no more. We don't have to leave if we own.
Exactly. And that's the mission for the most part. That's the message right there.
So tell us, to what scale, how do you, with the gentrification process, because you went down there 2008. So I'm remembering what's happened in 2008, subprime mortgages. Atlanta went down because a lot of the houses, you had the guys from up north that was coming buying houses for cash when they're selling up north and buying houses for cash. A $400,000 house in Atlanta, now it's only worth $200,000. Yeah. So you had a lot of people upside down. How did you maneuver through that process, and where did you start to help with the gentrification process?
Thank you for listening to the Success Journey Show. Please follow us on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at The Success Journey Show. Also, check out our website at thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of the show.
Well, as far as the crash and everything like that, with any asset, you don't lose until you sell. So I mean, if you held out, then you did okay. And with real estate, I don't. There's not too many reasons not to hold it or whatnot. I mean, if you have a strategy for that, but as long as you don't sell, you didn't take a loss, and your value should be good now. And as far as helping out with the gentrification, I mean, at the end of the day, it was not only knowledge, it's more so giving them the confidence. A lot of people, unfortunately, have a defeatist attitude when it comes to actually getting a mortgage and everything like that. And it's just kind of a scary situation for them because they don't understand. So it kind of boils down to access to capital. They hear the words down payment and that scares them or whatnot. We bring them information on down payment assistance, different things like that. It's more so access to capital and education on just how to get a mortgage and for them to understand that it's a better position to be in than to rent. In most cases, everybody has different situations, but in most cases, it's more financially feasible. All the above, you have tax write-offs, XYZ. So, it's just education and also access to capital, which is why we launched a nonprofit, because the nonprofit is able to tap into capital that a for-profit can't, in the form of grants and different things like that. So we act as like a vessel to be able to pass capital along within the Black community specifically.
Man, that's beautiful. Now, Rick, I'm not going to hog the interview.
Ahead,
Real estate, I love talking about it. We have this thing called a cell phone. And I'll tell you what, I want to hear I'm going to play the devil's advocate, or I don't want to say the devil. I'm going to play the other side of the coin. So before, we had to go to a library. You had to go there probably if they only had 5 books, you had 5 people check it out. They say, hey, Mr. Madden, they don't have the book on how to obtain a mortgage. You have to come back next week. It's going to be checked in at this time. I understand it. Our community now, we have this, and you could talk to a kid on the block and he could tell you all 100 Jordans that's been out. Name them specifically, tell you when they came out, what their value is, and how you can resale it. But then when you say to them, so what about this real estate thing? They're like, well, we're just never taught that.
Yeah.
What do you say to somebody when you say, well, you got to start to self-educate yourself, even give yourself, instead of looking at TikTok for 3 hours, do an hour of studying towards the real estate and the 2 hour. What do you say to people that just say, we don't have the knowledge, we don't know anything, that's why we're in the position we are?
I mean, this day and age, that is a terrible, excuse. I do understand the position because I know that it's not put in front of us. We're told about, the pandemic. We're told about wars. We're told about everything except things that are good for us. So I get that part. But, like you said, man, that phone, there's no limitations to it. All you have to do is go to Google and put in your desires, anything you're thinking as far as what you want to do, and it's going to give you information on it. So that's a major benefit that we have to put to use, but that's a mindset thing at the end of the day. So that's where I think, a lot has to happen within our community, is the mindset to even think to do that. And our nonprofit, the name of it is actually Push Ministry, and Push stands for persist until success happens. And it's about, not stopping until you get the goal that you have that aim for or whatnot. So that's what's important for our community. We have to have, higher and more, beneficial aims for ourselves. And that will get us, to utilize technology and things like that to get the information necessary and, consume content like this. This type of content is amazing. So, what you guys are doing is amazing, but, cell phones allow people to access it across the world. So we're removing that excuse. And, I think shows like this or whatnot is proof that we're moving towards, a better place.
And I love the answer. And the one thing that you put in there that it's what we need to start pushing in our community is what, just like you said, the information is there, but the mindset.
So
That mindset is very important, because if the person doesn't have a mindset to look for the information, they know how to look up information, but they don't have the mindset to look up that information, then it's thing. But like Rick, hey, I'm not hogging this interview, man. You
No. You good, man. You good. You going with it, man. You know, it's funny as you were talking about, you know, your cell phone and having all the information. I was in a car with my boys, and I told my oldest son, I said, "Hey, look up on your phone real quick. Something about, I think it's something about planets that we were having a discussion about." And I said, "I don't even know. Just look it up on your phone real quick." So he looks it up, and you know, we get the answer. I said, "Okay, good." So we drive down another couple miles, and someone said something in the car, and I said, "Hey, Solomon," my oldest son. I said, "Solomon, do you know anything about this?" And he's like, "I don't know nothing about that." And we keep driving. I'm like, "Dude,
you just
look it up on the Yo, man, open your damn phone and
yeah.
let's do this, man." So, but yeah, I'm loving, man. I love this, Majesty, man. What you're sharing, and just the heart that you're sharing it with. You know, for some of our travelers, you know, some of us don't realize that we're on social media for 3 hours. You know, you just get caught up. You know, because entertainment. You like to be entertained. You know, you had a hard day and you come home. You just want to, you know, wind down, see what's going on in the world around you, and you're not even realizing that, oh man, I just wasted 2-3 hours. It's now midnight, and I've been scrolling for the past few hours, right? What are some things that people can do, or what have you adopted to do to like this kind of protect your time as you're trying to really grow in your business and for your family and things of that nature?
Gotcha. And that's an amazing question, or whatnot. Time management is everything, specifically for me. The more that you can manage it, the better that you're going to be able to do. As far as some things that I do specifically, I'm very big on scheduling and time blocking. You know, in the sense of I mean, one, you need to be on time for things. That's the first thing. Like, so you commit to something, just make sure you're on time for it, or whatnot. And also time blocking in the sense of, you know, blocking out a specific portion of time in order to focus on something. Is very important, because in a time like that, you put your phone down, maybe put it on silent so it doesn't bother you. Because I mean, that, like you say, it's we all get caught up in it. You know, you just open it up, next thing you know, it's been a couple hours. One of the things that's been very key for me, that's been a hack, I don't know if it's for everybody, but it's been great for me, is waking up earlier before the day gets started. Like being an early riser. Like I wake up pretty early. I'm not saying everybody has to do it. I wake up at 4:30 every day. And what that does is it allows me to get some time in to focus my mind, also set my intentions for the day before things get crazy, or whatnot. So that's been very good for me. I get some meditation in at that time as well to center myself. And, you know, so that's something that I do personally. I think if you're able to get up at least before the sun is up, or before, you know, 15 minutes before you have to leave, you got to get up before then, so you can kind of get things together and really see the day and kind of direct it in the way that you want to go, as opposed to kind of just letting it happen to you. Yeah. So that's what I would say, just time management all around. And that goes for the end of the day as well. And that goes for rest and breaks as well. Like you have to give yourself rest and breaks and time to do other things that are important, like you mentioned with family and everything. So time management is really important. And keeping a schedule or some type of log or a calendar is great, as far as accountability, to make sure that you stay on schedule.
Love it.
We want to talk about your wife before we get off of this, but I don't want to change the vein, because no man's an island, no man stands alone. I know the only reason why I'm successful, or one of the reasons why I'm successful, because my wife has allowed me, in terms of And when people say allow, they're like, your wife allowed you? No, I mean, allow me to, if I say, babe, we're going to go buy this property, she's like, yes, let's go do it. Right. And, or she picks up, I'm in the military. So I'm in Iraq and Afghanistan, and my wife is closing out deals.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Right. And I'm there because it's funny enough, you're in a war and you're looking at your phone and you see your bank account and you see the money. And I'm like, yeah, we closed. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But talk about the structure of your deal. I don't know if you could go too in depth with it or what's the situation. Yeah. Well, you say you teach, so but the structure of your deal and how do you guys go through that stuff?
Of course. Well, I mean, I'm like you, man. I'm, you know, I don't want to sound. I mean, people say it's simping or whatever, but I think when it's true, it's true, and when it's right, man. My wife is everything to me. She helped me as far as getting on the right track. And when you have a good, you know, partner like that, it only makes you better. And that's kind of what happened with us. You know, her background is in marketing, you know, kind of getting exposure, communications, and design. And mine is in like operations, you know, as far as like technical things, raising capital, you know, finding deals. So it kind of merged real well. You know, we let each other play our role. But very similar, man. You know, my wife, when I'm tied up with other things, she's closing deals too. She can close and everything like that as well. So it's almost like having, you know, an extra partner. Especially if you don't have that, then it's like, it's almost unfair advantage, in a sense, because we could be more places than one, and yes, you know, everything like that. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think that's, you know, how things were supposed to be. As far as man and woman coming together and building something great. So that's kind of, you know, we own 100% of our companies. We split it down the middle, you know, as far as ownership. So I'm very proud to be partnered with my wife. And I just say that, you know, working with her has taken things to another level for both of us. So, you know, I'm all for it, man. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I hope to see more brothers, you know, kind of lean towards that, because it really is a power move. It's a power play. Yes, it is. Find the right partner and to commit to him, because that energy, man, is so focused, you know, like to get in tandem as opposed to being distorted and everywhere, because I lived that life before and it's very draining, and you know, you'll find yourself running in circles, you know, because you think you're being cool or whatever. But when you focus that energy with the right person, I mean, you see like Barack and Michelle, and you see Jay and Beyonce, you see other examples. So it's really a power play to find that right person and really focus on a vision together.
Oh man, I love that answer. Real estate deals, how do you find them? How do you structure them? How do you go through that? Because are you doing more of a development, find a bigger piece of land and then developing on that land? So talk about that.
Our average project is about anywhere between about 10 to 30 units on a particular piece of land. So smaller communities, not anything too gargantuan. We're working on scaling that. As far as finding deals, we look specifically for properties that are in opportunity zones, which are distressed areas that get like tax breaks. So it helps us raise capitals for those projects. But as far as land, we're just looking for a per acre price or a per lot price. And, you know, we're putting up houses there and then we sell them out as affordable housing. So everything that we sell qualifies as affordable housing through HUD, as far as the pricing. So just to make sure that we're being accountable as far as our pricing in the community. But our typical deal project size is about 10 to 30 units on a larger piece of land, anywhere between about 5 to 15 acres.
Now I'm going to be selfish. This is for my edification and also our listeners or travelers. Now, how long does that project take you from start to finish? How long will that generally take you?
That's a great question, and it's gonna bring me into something that you probably gonna want to touch on a little bit more, but I'll lead into it. So a project typically takes anywhere from about 12 to 18 months. And most of it's going to be permitting, of course, and all that stuff like that. Now, what we're doing is innovating in construction specifically, where we're building offsite now. That's what we're heading toward. Like building inside, yeah, exactly, yeah, modular housing. And what that allows us to do is run the part of the initial part of construction while we're doing some of the other things. So we're able to cut down that time considerably. And also cost as well, because, just economies of scale, focusing it in one area. So that's something that we've been working on to cut that time down, because the only way to get this housing crisis under wraps is to produce more supply. And we have to innovate in construction. There's too many things kind of causing construction to take longer and cost more. So we're working on that there. But a project that is built on site, I would say about 12 to 18 months, but we're working to get that down to about 9 to 12 months per community.
That is lovely. Now, so one thing, and I'm going to be blunt about this. So travelers, if you want to crucify me, crucify me. When you see a young Black guy come to the community, or you see a young Black guy talking to other businessmen, and you say to them, because I don't know if you fund your whole deal or you get capital from, you build like a hedge fund and then do it, and then, okay. So that means you have to try to get the capital from people. A lot of times, just because, I'll say it, just because you're Black, somebody doesn't think you can produce whatever one of these whatever these communities they're building all over the United States, these guys are building. How do you overcome that so you could tell people, hey, you need to put your money here and I can give you that return?
Man, you hit it. You struck a nerve there. Yes, it's very difficult. We do raise capital through a fund, and so we deal with it at all the levels, from the small investors all the way up to the Goldman Sachs and everything. And unfortunately, we are just not as appreciated as we should be, as far as what we're able to do. So it's just a matter of one, sticking together when we do see each other, which is fortunately far and few between, but also just honestly showing improving at the end of the day. And that's kind of where the persist until success happens things, because as they see us kind of continue to move forward, they're like, hey, okay, now they're doing this. Okay, that's done. Now they're doing this. Now they're on the news. Now they're this. And now they want to get involved. So, unfortunately, that's kind of the route that we have to go. LeBron is still out there trying to prove himself, So it's just one of the things that we kind of have to deal with in this society. But we just push through. So I would just say push through, produce, show, improve. And they have no choice but to kind of come and, work with you at that point.
But why? And you said something far and few between our people. One, of course, we don't have that ready capital. We don't have mama's mattress that we could just dig up and take out 100, 150, or however it is to invest with you. And when we have it, why do you think we are so hesitant to back up each other?
Man, that I honestly wish I had the answer to that question, brother. I don't have the answer to that question, but what I do intend to do is to be a solution in the other direction. As far as where I do my best to pour into other, brothers and sisters that I see doing things. And that was a big, part of the reason of putting together the nonprofit, so that I hopefully can be an example for someone else, or even just some type of inspiration or motivation to do the same exact thing and pay it forward. We definitely have to do more as far as sticking together. So I'm not really sure why that's the case. And that's something that we're working on, brother. I really don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be a matter of us.
Because your name was Majesty, you're going to give me an answer. Like, everybody I'm asking, I had to ask your Majesty, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I hate to say it, brother, but all of our investors, for the most part, they're not Black, and that, and that's just me being honest. we definitely approach our people, but I have to admit as well, there is some systematic things there because, you know, the whole accredited investor thing that makes a lot of people not eligible to be able to even be involved with something like this. And then you have redlining and other things, but I'm not, it's still on us to support each other at the end of the day. So I don't want to make excuses. So hopefully, you know, that will change now and moving forward as far as us actually supporting each other with our capital. I'm tired of hearing how much we spend. You know, how much we invest in each other.
We saw Jim Jones said in Gucci that he was trying to spend 30,000 and they wasn't coming to him.
I mean, I would love to work with Jim Jones.
Man.
Jim, watching, bro. Hit up your Majesty.
Yeah. Yo, man, and I think really to that is more so what I'm starting to settle with around that topic is just keep executing and doing what we're doing, because there's more of us now in these spaces than there was, even though it doesn't feel that way, and the percentage is probably not as great as it was, you know, a few years ago. But we do have more access to some of these spaces now than ever before, and it's really just about us executing as the best as we can, considering ourselves being in some form or shape or form, like yourself, a pioneer in the space. And we may not have people that are investing in our ideas, investing in whether it be monetarily or just supporting, you know, getting us, you know, to the next level, right? But you're developing something that's a vehicle, and at some point, someone else is going to need a ride, and we don't know when that person is. And right now, I don't mind if I have to go to get filled up or have all my passengers not necessarily be, you know, that look like me. It's all right because I gotta keep this thing going. But one day there's going to be a passenger that really needs to get on. Not only just needs to get on, but is ready to start running with it and ready to start developing, and then open up another pathway for other people behind them. So I believe it's all part of it. And it's just something that we have to deal with based off of history, right? It's not that we can't change it. Mm-hmm. It's just we got to be in it and make the best of it now and pushing it forward. So, man, I'm loving hearing this, man. You know, Atlanta is a distant home, like in terms of the amount of people that I know down there that are very close to me, family and all that kind of stuff, and actually going to be down there not pretty soon. But, you know, love the work that you're doing in there. One last question I want to ask you is just kind of talk about, you know, we have a lot of people that are out there just like showing what they're doing. We talk about this all the time on different social media platforms, and like it's some people show but necessarily don't have the results, or some people show just to try to build clout. You know, I know your wife is in marketing, probably more of an answer that she can probably give, but you guys, yin yang. I know you guys are right with this, right? Like, how do you compete in the marketplace in terms of that social sphere? You know what I mean? With all these people saturating the place, and they may have 500,000, you know, followers or whatever, but yet they got one house. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
I got you, man. Yeah, that's a real challenge because, you know, it's like noise, man, that you have to cut through, and you're trying to communicate substance, you know, in the sense of so that is a real challenge. But one thing that I attempt to do is focus on quality, as far as, you know, followers, supporters, whoever's engaging, over quantity, and that has worked out for us, or whatnot, because at the end of the day, you know, real recognizes real, however you want to say it. Like, people can see when you're executing, and they can also see when you're only posting, you know, Photoshop related stuff. So you know, you just kind of gotta stay true to yourself and know that at the end of the day, quality is more important than quantity. because then you get, great people reaching out to connect like, you guys did, as opposed to just pressing like or something like that. So we get really quality engagement, and that's what we try to focus on. And anybody doing anything, like in real time for real, they're typically going to get that type of engagement, and that's stronger to me than having a million bots or something following you.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, I love your answers, man. I love your answers. And the funny thing is, that's how me and Ricky think. Because, every time somebody hears our show, they're like, man, everybody needs to hear this. I'm like, we think so too, but everybody's saying that they want to hear this kind of content. Give it to them. You want to hear about Rihanna's pregnancy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely. Hey, and I'm jumping the gun, Rick, a little bit with you. If you have people out there that want to invest, or they want to find out about how to partner up with you, where do they go to reach you? How can they reach you? And how could they even just support anything you're doing on social media?
Cool. Well, on social media, if you just want to check out what we're doing, we're on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, I believe, as Majesty _Elise. And that's ELIZE. And as far as if you want to invest with us, then you can look at evoopportunityfund.com. Check out what we have going on there. And if you also looking for resources in any sense, then we have our nonprofit, which is Push Ministry. So you go to pushministry.org and you'll see all the programs that we have available. So whether you want to support, invest, or you're looking for resources, please reach out. We're here to help.
Love it. Well, travelers, man, we come to the end of another show. We told you it's going to be another great one. And that's all we do. All we do is great ones here, And actually, the only ones we release are great ones, right? No, I'm joking. Nah, they're all great. Majesty, man, thank you so much for joining us and just share your insight, man. Hoping one day we can, even meet together, and hopefully, I'm that accredited investor one day. I'm not there yet, but I aspire to be there, and I can say, hey, man, what do you got coming up? Let me see if I can contribute to that. So, man, love what you're doing, man. Keep doing it. Keep it positive, man. We're following you on the social medias. But all those that are listening to this right now, if you want his information, you'll see it in the show notes. Go to the show notes on this podcast. And after you do that, just click share. Just share it. Share it to your friends. Share it to, you don't have to share it to your whole profile. You even share it to one person. Text them the link. That's all you got to do. Get this message out, showing that there's great things that are going on around this world. So again, thank you everyone for being here. Majesty, especially you, for sharing this. Thank you for what you and your wife are doing in Atlanta and in the surrounding areas. And we will see everyone next week at the same time on the Success Journey Show. Everyone have a good one. Peace.
One love.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.